In 2024, Ferrari were in general the second fastest car in the sport. They started the season being the second fastest car, only behind Red Bull, and the end of the season once again being the second fastest car in general behind McLaren. There was a bit of a dip in the middle of the season though for them, and going into 2025, Ferrari are entering the year with one goal in mind: to win the Constructors Championship. But will they do that? Well, in today's video, I am going to be previewing Ferrari for the 2025 season. If you enjoyed the video, then please hit the like button and subscribe for more F1 content. But now, let's get into the video. As I said, Ferrari are entering the 2025 season with the one goal in mind, and that is to win the Constructors Championship. Or really any championship, as they are now in their longest drought ever when it comes to championships. And to help them do this, they have signed the most successful Formula 1 driver ever in Lewis Hamilton, as Lewis Hamilton has finally left the Mercedes family after being with them since he was a child in go-karts. And Lewis will be hoping that the Scuderia can provide him with a car to win that illustrious 8th World Drivers' Championship. Alongside Lewis Hamilton is Charles Leclerc, and Leclerc is still chasing his first World Championship with his beloved Ferrari team. Last year, when I previewed Ferrari for the 2024 season, I said that in 2023, Ferrari really struggled with consistency at some races, because sometimes they were the closest rivals to Red Bull, and at other races they were the 4th fastest team and a long way away from the podium. And in 2024, to some extent, Ferrari were once again somewhat inconsistent. They were, however, much better than in 2023. Ferrari started the year looking like the closest rivals to Red Bull, as they were the second best in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. Then in Australia, we saw Carlos Sainz take what was then, at the time, a shock victory. And then at Monaco, Charles Leclerc won the Grand Prix. But after that, Ferrari's season took a big downturn, as Charles Leclerc, after winning in Monaco, went on to score just 10 points in the next 4 races. And that all came at one race, with a 5th place in Spain. At Montreal, Silverstone, and at Austria, he failed to score any points. Teammate Carlos Sainz did do better, scoring 33 points in those 4 races, but he also had a DNF at Montreal. And really, 43 points in 4 races was a bad run for the Ferrari team. After this though, things did start to get better for them, and there was even a period where they were potentially the best team in the sport, as they could have won 4 out of 5 races, from Monza to Mexico, before once again falling behind McLaren in terms of overall performance. This was down to some upgrades that they introduced in Spain, causing porpoising issues. However, after they fixed that, which they then did get a lot better. And they've fixed this now, so can enter 2025 with a good base to build from. One of Ferrari's biggest strengths in 2024 was their ability to look after the tyres in race trim, and they used this to their advantage at Monza, as Charles Leclerc managed to make the one-stop work and brilliantly won the race in front of the Tifosi. One area though where Ferrari did struggle for a while was their ability to warm up the tyres for one lap in qualifying. This did cost them in qualifying at Singapore, when they were in position to be the closest rivals to McLaren, but ended up being at the back of the top 10. And it also cost them in Las Vegas, as they were struggling with graining issues. In 2025, Ferrari needs to find a better balance when it comes to compromising their qualifying and race performance. They might be great in race trim, but it doesn't help them when they are starting behind McLaren and Red Bull, because they can't fire the tyres up for one lap. One thing that did help them though was Lando Norris would occasionally bottle the starts and ruin what was a solid qualifying lap for him. I just want to say, if you are enjoying the video so far, then I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe for more F1 content. But now, let's get back to the video. For Lewis Hamilton then, he has officially joined Ferrari to end his career after a very successful time at Mercedes, where Hamilton rewrote the record books, winning 84 races for the Silver Arrows, bringing him up to a total of 105 race wins. And then he also won 7 World Championships, 6 of which came when he was at the Mercedes team. And Ferrari is a team that is definitely in a better position than where Mercedes was when he left them. So Lewis is potentially in a better position than he was last year. 2024, however, was a difficult year for Lewis, as he was struggling to beat George Russell. Hamilton would typically start the weekend off well on Friday, but then make changes overnight, and the car and performance would tend to fall away from him. He was beaten in qualifying 19.5 by George Russell. In race trim, Hamilton was typically a lot closer to George. Even when he would qualify several places behind, he would almost always end up finishing the race right next to Russell. In the racing head-to-head, Russell once again came out on top, beating Lewis, but it was only by 9-15, showing how much closer it was in race trim versus qualifying. For Lewis, it is hard to say if this was down to him leaving the team, or if his age was finally starting to catch up with him. This season at Ferrari will tell a lot about how much Lewis Hamilton still has left to give racing in F1. It is a fresh start for Lewis, and if he still has it, then he could be the number one. But he will be against one of the fastest qualifiers on the grid. For teammate Charles Leclerc then, he is entering another season with Ferrari and has a new teammate. This is not the first time Leclerc will be teaming up with a multiple-time world champion, as Charles Leclerc first teamed up with 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel when he originally joined the Ferrari team before teaming with Carlos Sainz. But now he will be partnering up with Lewis Hamilton. For Leclerc, 2024 was one of his most consistent seasons yet, as he finished in the top 5 for every single race he finished, apart from the races in Austria and at Silverstone. He also finished on the podium a brilliant 13 times. Leclerc in general had the edge over previous teammate Carlos Sainz in 2024, as he beat Sainz in qualifying 14 times to 9. In race trim, Leclerc also had the edge over teammate Sainz, as he beat him 14 times to 8. For Charles Leclerc, this will be a massive challenge for him, as he could be against a rejuvenated Lewis Hamilton. However, if he does still have the measure on Lewis, then Leclerc will be cementing himself as one of the very best drivers on the grid, if, well, he has not already cemented himself as that, given what we have seen him do in the Ferrari already. So, for Ferrari then in 2025, I can see them battling for the Constructors Championship. They have 2 of the very best drivers on the grid, and they have a fantastic baseline to work from. If they don't stray too far away from what they already have, then we should see them really come out fighting from the beginning of the year. And with Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc behind the wheel, then we already know that they have 2 drivers who are incredibly fast and very capable of delivering big results when it matters the most. As usual with Ferrari, however, there is still some room for improvement. Consistency is an area where they need to improve on. There is still random weekends where Ferrari just doesn't turn up. If they want to be competing for both championships and their first championship since 2008, then they need to ensure that they do turn up to compete each and every single weekend without any fail. Alongside this, we did also see some questionable strategy calls, which is something that has plagued the team for years. Whilst they were definitely better in this department in 2024, they still need to tighten up a little bit further, especially as Team LH and Leclerc fans will make sure that they don't hear the end of it if they don't tighten up. Personally, I can see them win the Constructors Championship, and I can see them potentially competing for the Drivers' Championship as well. I think Leclerc will be the lead driver overall, as I do think Lewis is just starting to get to the end of his frankly incredible career. But what will happen? Well, only time will tell. So I think Ferrari will be competing for the Constructors Championship and potentially the Drivers' Championship. But the question is, what do you guys think will happen? In the comment section down below, please do let me know. And as always, comment, leave a like and subscribe for more F1 content. Thank you all so much for watching.